Hey people, Broken Puppet, back once again, another video for you today. This one is how to draw old school faces. So it's like the old sort of 1940s, 50s kind of tattoo style. And now you've got the really old fashioned kind of woman's face, the old school man's face. Plus it's got a little banner and some bruises. So it's pretty neat. Talk you through the works as usual. Sure you're going to love it. So yeah, enjoy the video and I will see you next time. Hey people, right, how to draw old school faces. Now these are the old sort of like 1950s kind of tattoo style faces. Now in the 40s and that, you know, it's not meant to look realistic, it's meant to be stylized. So you see, like you got like, you know, the face here, you got the man's one, front face black and white, the line work. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a design that has both the male and female face in it. Bear with me, this is just... There we go. Right, so if we say... It's going to apply the basics first. And at the face, so a circle there. With like a pointy bit coming off the bottom. Kind of like that. With a cross in the middle. That's what a woman's face is going to be. So circle, sort of pointy bit, cross. And she's going to be facing kind of like that way. So I'm going to have the man's face. The man's face you want to be slightly bigger. Yeah. Makes it more masculine. Not massively bigger, just a little bit. And he's going to be looking pretty much straight at her. Going to have hand there just touching her chin. With the hand you sort of do a circle, do sort of 4 circles there for the knuckles, and the fingers are basically made up of 2 sausage shapes. One sausage shape, like, you know, for this bit of finger, and one for that. So you plot them out and you can pretty much get like a good sort of shaped hand every time. The thumb always starts, if you imagine the circle there, like 4 knuckles, 1 circle, then another circle down, that's where the knuckle for the thumb goes. So that's where the thumb starts. It's always a handy little tip, that one. We have to make this hand a little bit bigger. I think this hand's a little bit too small. But we'll see once I sort of draw the faces. A lot of time you can correct a hand size just by simply adjusting the thumb. And that, right, now we've got that done. I'm going to go straight in with the pen on this bit so you see it nice and clearly. Get my stuff up from underneath. Too many bloody pens. It's just a basic fine liner, and that I'm going to start with the nose. And that, now we got the cross, the nose is going to be slightly to this side. And that I'm going to start with like a little curve, curve it up, and come off that bit. So you want the line to go up to where the line bit is going through the middle where the eyes will be, and just bend off. Little curve line, just like that. Really simple little line. A little curve off the top. Simple as hell. That makes the nose. Now the eyes, you're just quite big here so you can quickly see. And now this is an angle, so if you imagine you've got the nose here, you're on the eye, top bit to curve, nicely around. But where this curve goes, you want this bit to be lower than this does. Then with this you want a nice curve coming down and curving around up into it to make it feminine. And that. So that's going to be a little bit small, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'll try and zoom in. Kind of like that. And then you want a little curve just going over the top. So you just like that. Now if you carry on that nose shape just a little bit higher, that'll give you the position of the eyebrow. Now we're not going to do that just yet because we need the side bit of the face for that. But for now, just flicking a few lines at the bottom to be eyelashes. And a few at the top, curving out like that. Simple. And that. Now the mouth, you might want to plot this in with a pencil just a little bit. So if you imagine you've got the line there, about a line about 2/3 of the way down. So you've got chin and a line here, and that guideline roughly where the mouth goes. And to know the width from the centre of the nose, line coming down, sort of touching just past the nostril, and one coming down that side. That gap in the middle is where you want the mouth. Now the mouth, you want to curve like this. I'll show you. Curve up, deep little V, and flick like that. See? And when doing old school, you want a nice little right dip right in the middle. See right there, just so it dips down. Now the middle line, you want to go dip in the middle, a little flick, then join up, just like that. Now the bottom lip is the bit you want to get right. Now you don't want to join the lip up right on the sides, you want it to join it a little bit further in. Because if it's joined up on the side, the lip looks distorted over to the side. Because this is a side angle. So you go down, curve around, curve up, like that. You see? Simple, and that's the mouth done. And now you just want to plot roughly where you want the cheeks and that to go. Now you know where the cheek's going to go because you want the corner of the eye, bring it out a little bit, then flick up. That to be like, you know, the upper part. And then this bit will make it the cheek. And now you want this to come out, and you want it to reach like its maximum curve around the same length as what the nose is. Once you get there, start curving in towards the mouth. And once you reach the mouth area, you want to curve back out a little bit to make a little bend for the chin. Now generally, the bigger the chin, the more powerful the woman, so, and the more masculine, so you don't want to make the chin too big. So you see a nice curve going around there and there. So I'll quickly plot that in the pen so you can see. Just like that on the side. And now you've got your shape here, so you know to just flick this off, going this way, to make the cheek. And that. And now the other eye is going to be about the distance of the that eye in between. And start about here to make the next one. And that. You also, where you got that centre line going across, like a little circle shape going here from the centre bit to the corner. And that. I'll show you why in a bit because that's going to be like where you're going to do like the cheek shading. And that. But the eye, very similar to, you know, the first eye. I'm going to curve up. You want this curve to be more straight on this side and come to more of a point because it's at an angle again. Curve nice and down. Flick back up. Line over the top. You want to do a little line just in the middle bit as well, just where you had that point at the end. And now you put in your eyebrows. I said this eyebrow, you just follow that nose up, you connect the top of that, and just drag that across. Just like that. That'll make that eyebrow. And the other one, if you imagine following a line up the next to the nose, you know, like straight, curving up, and that will start the point of that eyebrow. Just there. See, just like that. And once you've got that, it's a matter of just plotting in the hair. You know, so you've got the chin shape coming around there, which I've plotted in already. See, like that. Now the hair, you know, girls probably have an easier time doing this because girls know old-fashioned hairstyles, but the trick is to make it simple and wavy. Now for this, I'm going to do like a little centre parting bit. So if you imagine the head sort of curls back this way, got a curvy line, I'm going to have this waving back, nice and simple, curving there, like that. And I'm going to have this bit curving like that, off of that bit connecting back up there. A bit coming off to the top, curving around there. Once you get there, I'm going to curve back around. Two nice, like, kind of bumpy bits there. Now for this one, you can bring like another little circle bit down here. You just make up, like, you know, circle shapes and curves, you know, until you get a nice kind of feel to it. And here I'm going to do a flower in that circle bit. And then if you imagine here, where the cheek ends, bring line down, and that'll give you the neckline. You bring that back. You want it to be nice and smooth turn with old school style. No sharp corners with the neck. Now it's going to quickly put on the line work around that hand we drew. Or a little bit of it. And now the flower, I'm literally just going to bung in some nice kind of curve shapes and make up a basic kind of rose. So you imagine like two curves, curve at the bottom, then a bunch of petals around it. Now I've got rose tutorials if you want to check out more detail, but they're quite simple once you get the hang of them. That'll do for now. What I do around that neck, I'm going to give some pearls like I did down the other picture. That's just a big circle, and just have them getting smaller as I get towards the neckline. Can't get more simple than that. Little line there, neck detail. Little line there for the shoulder bit. I'll do the clothes and the other bits in a minute, but for now I'm just focusing on the faces. Now we've got the man's. So you said we had that basic shape here, that kind of pointy one. The man's is a bit more angular, so if you bring down a line and bring that across to make the jaw shape. Straight line across, straight line across. Now again, I'm going to start with the nose for him. The man's nose comes out a bit further and is a bit more straight than the woman's. Kind of like that. Same bit for the back load, just that little curve there and there. But I like to do a little curve there just as well. Just kind of button off the nose. The man's eye is a lot more angular than a woman's. Like a woman's is like nice curvy lines. I'm going to make it a little bit more boxy, so bring in a line, come off straight, line around the outside. Don't do no eyelashes in this style for the men. And that. And if you're doing like a sort of kids and that, you can do eyelashes, but on a man, it just makes it look a bit too femme. Eyebrows are a lot bushier as well. So you see that, just put on a nice little bushy eyebrow. Like a big box, but just jaggedy lines. And that. Now, around the nose, I like to do old school moustaches on my guys. And that. So, I plot on roughly where the mouth would go. It's very similar to the woman's, except, see we've got the V there? It's very much smaller on a man, it isn't as defined. And that. The rest of the lips, pretty much the same. And the same principle for placing it. But, the moustache, just bring like a little curve from the beginning, you know, the centre bit. Curve on the outside, curving up and back around. The rest have a moustache just like that. Start getting everywhere though. It's so awkward to try and maintain it. So now I just stick with my beard. And just defining that jawline we just sketched in before. And now the man's chin comes down a lot more to a point, and it's a bit more square. Like see the woman's here kind of curves. The man's on a bit more angular, like almost like square there. Makes it a bit more stronger. And that. And line up. And the cheekbone here isn't as defined on a man either. Like see here, much less defined. Just go over the moustache. Just putting a little bit of lips you can see in between. around that jaw. Just like that. Then you've got the other eye, about the same distance, but you know, the eye distance there. Remember, it's roughly the same shape as a woman's, it's just more angular. So instead of making like a dead perfect line, kind of bring it to not a perfect point, but break the line almost straight, then bend it again. So you see here, so I go up a little bit, I turn it a bit sharper so it goes a bit straight, and then again bend it down for the bottom bit. Break that around, line over the top, pupil, and a little bit just on the inside. Again, just like the woman's, to work out where the other eyebrow goes, just follow that nose up, and that's where I go. And that, remember, like I said before, bushier than a woman's, and a bit more close to the eye as well. You can do if you want. And if you want them to be serious, have it really close. And this is kind of a bit sympathetic, so I don't really need to. Just a little line there for the cheekbone. Just one of those little details I like to put in. Now the ear, to show the ear placement, follow the eye back. That's roughly where you want the top of the ear. You're going to curve them down to roughly see where the mouth goes. On the bottom bit like there. And just bring like a nice kind of wiggly line for the ear. And plot that in. I always like to encourage people to try and do their own ears. Just do a couple of wiggly lines and see what you like. You know, it's something you can really play around with and kind of make your very own type of one. You know, your own like little signature ear. You know, just do a whole bunch of like ear shapes and do some wiggly lines in them. See which one you like best. Now the hairline on a man has to be old school hairstyle. And there's a whole bunch of different ones, but if you do like a modern style, it just ruins it. So for this one, I'm going to have like the kind of typical kind of brush back. So you've got like a little V shape coming up where that cross was. See, like dips in, dips across. You've got a little jag line here where the parting would be. Come down a bit, curve to a very small sideburn, literally just at the edge of the ear, and curve that around. I'm going to curve this round back a little bit. Come to a little point where that parting is, and back there. And I'll quickly plot that in with a pen so you can see. And that man's neck starts a bit there. I won't go too far because I've got to put his clothes and stuff on at the moment. But now you got that, you want to do the detail inside the hair. Now to do this, you basically want to do lines, repeated lines, in a pattern that follows the hair shape. Like his hair, I know, is going back, brushed this way. So I'm going to do a bunch of straight lines, going across like that, and then some coming down that way. Hers, I'm going to have them flowing with her hair shape, so they're going to be wiggly lines, symmetric going down it. You'll see what I mean once it's done. Right, now that's done. I'm going to grab me my black. It's not my black, it's me, there's my black. And I'm going to plot in some areas in the hair, and just around the face and stuff. Right, as you can see, I just plotted in some black in the hair. What I've done, where I've done those lines, like here, I just left like a little white gap in the middle and just flipped the black and stopped. Left like a line there, 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 there. And that just makes like a shine in the hair and gives it like a nice old school look. And I've done the same thing on the moustache, but I'm just going to blend it out with a bit of grey. I'm going to put a few lines. And I blacked in the eyebrows as well. And the lips. Can't forget the lips. Well, the upper lip, not the bottom lip, just the upper one. And now we've got that done, I'm going to go into my basic shading. Start off with this. Going to use a grey. There's key areas like around the top of the eyes. You want to be very dark. So get like a grey, colour them in. A little grey underneath the bottom. On the nose, you want to go just around that bottom part of the area, so just a little bit above the nostril and a little bit below, so you got over it, like a little shadow drop just to the bottom, just like that. Similar thing at the bottom of the mouth, a little shape kind of circulating there a little bit on the sides. And now this cheek, I'm going to do just like a little bit just like that for now. And now if we sort of sketch in that line we've done before here, see that sort of circle from here to here, that kind of guideline, that's where we're going to have this shadow from this cheekbone. Can have it coming across that way. A good strong line at the bottom. Putting a good thick line just at the bottom of the hair as well, makes like a shadow for the hair, just like that. Let's grab a lighter grey and I'm going to blend that out. Let's put a little shadow where the hand is. See where the hand shape is? On the neck. So just there, just like that. Now I shade the hand before I shade him because he's pretty much similar to her. I'll teach you a few different techniques for the hand. Now the hand, the trick to getting a good shaded hand is knowing where the bend is. Now see around the knuckles, this area is separate, this area is separate, and the finger breaks up with these little bit curves. So imagine that curving halfway, and you basically want to go, depending on where the light is, like this bit here at the bottom, it's going to be the darkest. So I'm going to make this whole bit here dark grey. The reason for this being the darkest, and that's because this is the bit the light is seeing the least. Well, at least in this picture that I'm making up. You can make it a bit however you want, you can do it around the other way if you wanted. And when the other ones are, I'm going to shade down. With a lighter grey, then I'm going to go work in my darker until I'm happy with the shade I have. It needs to be just a touch bit darker on those fingers. Just put a little bit of that same grey just on the tip of these bits. Shade them out. Let's put a shadow there, joining that bit up. Just on the side of the fingers. Just over the top so the grey matches up with the other grey. Voila. Now his face very similar, like dark greys under the eye and over the eye. Down that nose bit. I should have put up here so it kind of squares the head a bit. Now his cheekbone comes from that little one we've done here. So we shade there. Thick line around the jaw area. Onto the nose, a bit of the bottom of the lip, up on that side lid. Then again, just grab your grey, blend it out. You just do the same thing for the eyes. Black pupil. Couple of bits at the bottom, that detail, and just go around that in the dark grey. At this point I'm just going to quickly sketch in the clothes. Now I want him smartly dressed, so I'm going to put him in like a shirt and a vest. So if you imagine just like a lock bit here for the collar, block shape there, the tie section, just a bit there, a bit there. And now what I'm doing on her, where arm comes down, I'm just going to have a dressy bit come across here, frilly, and that. And the rose flower here, and a rose flower bit there. Yeah, and I'm going to do a little banner in the middle to make it look nice. And I'll add a bit of background as well, in colour. Now you see like his collar bit, just simple, looking like block shape. With these old school designs, simplicity really is key. Now, not making it basic, it's far from. You know, it's a right stylized style. Does that make sense? Just a little tie bit. Side of his vest, and just where his shoulder comes down a bit. And that. Now the banner, like you seen me do before, quite simple. This one I'm just going to drag a nice curvy line, and I'm just going to mirror that underneath. Just join up the edge. This one I have curving back. Just going to go behind that flower bit. Same with that one. And now the flower I'm just going to plot, and it's going to be like, you know, it's the basic one on my sort of rose tutorial ones. Right. Once you've got the roses done, it's going to join up the banner around the end. So if you imagine the banner goes around, V shape, bang. Line joins up there, that comes around here, V shape, bang. I'm going to quickly plot in Timeless Love, yeah. There you go, just plotted in Timeless Love. And now it's going to put in a bit of colour. Some red in the rose. There you go, just put some red in the roses. I'll put some more colours in a bit. It's going to do a checkered effect on the tie, I think. What do you know, I actually quite like this lines. Very stripy tie. Maybe blacked out. Where did my black go? Right. I'm just going to blacken a few more areas that need it. I'm just going to come in with a brown for his vest. My yellow. Put a little bit of blue in the pearls. Give it some red lipstick. Now done that, I'm just going to flick in some flesh tone. Just the flesh tone I'm going to use. Don't want to use too much flesh tone, just in the little key areas. So just pretty much go over all the shadow areas with a light flesh tone. You ain't got to do this, I just like to have a little subtle bit of flesh tone in there. I like to mix it with the greys as well because it makes it a little bit more subtle. And that, if you go to brown, sometimes it just overkills and it loses that classic feel. Let's throw some yellow and some other little bits. Just go flesh tone. Just one final little touch. Give me a blender for this one. I'd like to put a little bit of red blush in the girl's cheek and just underneath the eyes. To do that, you get the blender, just flick it on a red pen, and then when you put it on, it slowly fades so you can get a nice good blend out with the red. All that's left now is the colour in each tie. I'm going to give him a blue tie. And make it a little bit dark with grey. Flicking a little bit of black in certain areas and I am done. Yeah, that is how to draw an old school woman and an old school man. And that, hope you like it. And that, should have some more videos coming up very soon. And that, if you can like it, share it with her. And that, yeah. I guess I will see you next time.